Welcome back, folks, to this. Sorry, 3, 2, 1. Welcome back, folks, to WP-Tonic This Week in WordPress and SaaS. We've got a great special guest. We've got Adeel Raza from eLearningevolve. Hopefully, I haven't butchered his Christian and surname, which I normally do. He looks reasonably happy, so I think I haven't. In this episode, we're going to be talking about how you build a niche and profitable niche plugin business in WordPress on the back of a major platform. That platform is Zoom. I think it's going to be a fantastic discussion. So, Adeel, quickly, would you like to give a 20, 30 second intro about yourself?
Sure. So my name is Adeel, as you would all know by now. So I have been working on my own startup since 2019, and I started my career back in 2013 as a web developer. So it's been a long time, and in 2019 I finally started my own company to provide my expertise myself. And since then, I have been providing these services, and I have a special focus on WordPress. This started between 2019 and 20, where I shifted all my attention towards WordPress and in WordPress specifically e-learning. So this is what I do. I help people to get make their e-learning platform as better as they can, especially on WordPress.
That's great. And I've got my great co-host, Kurt. Kurt, would you quickly like to introduce yourself to the new listeners and viewers?
Sure, Jonathan. My name is Kurt Von Onen. I run a company called Mañana No Mas. We consult with and help people with their learning and membership sites.
And before we go into the main part of this great podcast, we've got a couple of special messages from our major sponsors that help support the show. We will be back in a few moments, folks.
This podcast episode is brought to you by Lifter LMS, the leading learning management system solution for WordPress. If you or your client are creating any kind of online course, training-based membership website, or any type of e-learning project, Lifter LMS is the most secure, stable, well-supported solution on the market. Go to lifterlms.com and save 20% at checkout with coupon code podcast20. That's podcast20. Enjoy the rest of your show.
Coming back, I just want to point out we've got some great special deals from the sponsors. Plus, we've got a curated list of the best WordPress plugins for various categories, so you don't have to spend loads of time as a client trying to build something on WordPress. You can get all these goodies by going over to WP-Tonic/deals, WP-Tonic/deals, and you find all the goodies there. So, Adeel, let's go straight into it. So you gave a quick outline before we went for our break, but what led you into WordPress, and then what led you into building this niche add-on plugin solution for Zoom? Can you give us an outline of what led to WordPress and then to this specific plugin solution?
Sure. So I worked for WooNinjas back in 2017. So WooNinjas specializes in WordPress development. So this is where I got the major exposure towards WordPress. I have been working on other technologies before that, like Node.js and JavaScript and all the other PHP frameworks like CodeIgniter, and there are loads of them. So I had a lot of mixed experience before that, but after joining WooNinjas, we were specializing in WordPress, and in doing so, we started some very specific projects in LearnDash, and that is where I kind of started to build interest in WordPress, because I thought that e-learning is an area which is quite exciting at this point of time, and if we could deliver that through WordPress, then it's extraordinary, because WordPress has so much potential in it, and given the all the tools that are available on WordPress, especially tools like LearnDash, like Lifter LMS. They make WordPress something very different from what we knew before that. So I think it was a major change in itself, and I was like part of the tide that was creating that change. So as for the e-learning part of it, and especially LearnDash, I personally have a interest in education, and there has been some major life changes which led me towards focusing on the education niche specifically. So I thought that the best I could get to align my passion and my work was e-learning, because I have been a developer so far. So if the only way I could enter education being a developer, I thought e-learning is the best place. So that's where I would say my overlapping of my passion and my work began. And since then, I've been developing tools for the WordPress community, and I'm very pleased to interact with the community, because there have been some very very great people that I've been in touch with, and they make it more engaging. They make it more better. Especially the community of LearnDash, that has been my like stronghold in 2017 and till 19. So I have been like actively contributing in that LearnDash group, which was very like it was the most popular group I could know of, especially in WordPress. And yeah, that's where the main thing happened.
All right. Thanks for that. Over to you, Kurt.
Well, you know, I work with the e-learning stuff quite a bit myself, and I have to agree with you that things change quite a bit once we could start putting the e-learning into the WordPress environment. And I love the idea that we can integrate Zoom into these platforms, because having worked with Moodle or some Joomla examples or some other custom applications, you could do those live meetings, but then there was that absence, in WordPress. What do you think are some of the benefits or the drawbacks of your main plugin, kind of like piggybacking the back end of a big platform like Zoom?
So is that a question for me?
I think so. Yeah. It's what are like the benefits or the drawbacks of your plugin relying on a tool like Zoom to work?
So I would say that I started with the Zoom integration because I did this integration before COVID happened. So I was very fortunate to be able to develop such a thing pre-COVID. And at that point of time, I had no idea what's going on and what's coming ahead. So I just, as I mentioned, I was an active part of the LearnDash community. So I saw a need there, and people were asking about such an integration, such a possibility, because at that time, nothing like this was available in the market. I'm talking about 2019. So at that point, I saw a need, because I thought that e-learning is kind of boring if we don't add the live interaction in it. Because this is something that I've noticed personally, that it's just, if you just present people with a bunch of text, I don't think so that it will be engaging to them, because they want live interaction, they want a human touch to it. Because if you go to a classroom, you interact with the teacher, you interact with your fellow students, your colleagues. So that is something which makes it interesting, I believe. So in e-learning, I saw a big gap in that sense, because everyone was relying on the text and the videos, but still it doesn't give that human touch. I think I would say that even the live video conferencing is not like at par with the human touch that I'm talking about, but it's the best we could get so far. So that was my mind back in 2019, and I verified this from the need in the market, in the community, and I just created something. Like, I was doing an experiment, I was doing a side project. I had no clue where it's going to lead me. So I just created a free integration just to see how people respond to it, and I published it in the LearnDash community. And to my surprise, I got an extraordinary and an overwhelming response. Like, I was shocked with the magnitude of response, because probably it was something like that was not available at that time. It was very new, and I got a lot of queries and a lot of questions, many downloads at that point. So that's where my theory become it was confirmed by the users that indeed there is a need to make e-learning more engaging. And what I think the best we could do is through live video conferencing right now. That's where my attention towards Zoom integration uh, developed, and the user feedback made like the most impact on that, because obviously if you're developing we develop everything for users. If they do not like respond to it, they do not like it, then there's no point of it, because yeah, it's like it could be a very good like plugin, but if the users are not happy with it, they're not using it, it's pretty useless. So that's where I get the motivation to focus on that, and from then on I've been totally focused on this area, because like it's continuously expanding.
Nice, nice. What was the draw to Zoom to make the connection and not some other, meeting streaming tool?
So at that point, Zoom was most popular. Even before pre-COVID, Zoom was a popular tool, and initially I looked for some existing projects that were happening in the WordPress community, and I saw there was one project, and it was using the Zoom integration, but it was very basic, and it was not kind of integrating it with WordPress. It was just redirecting users to the Zoom application. So it was just simply a plugin which displays a Zoom link, and it would redirect the people to Zoom app, which is something that a person could easily do without a plugin as well. They can simply add that link to their post or page or any other place on WordPress, and it will redirect them to the Zoom app. So the plugin was it was a very good plugin. I built upon that plugin, and I tried to enhance it and make it something more tightly integrated with WordPress. So the backend part of the plugin was really good. It allowed the users to create meetings and stuff, but the front end was the missing part. And there I saw the major area of work, which I thought that if we could get Zoom into WordPress, like in a way that people don't have to leave their WordPress sites and they could conduct meetings on their site, then it could be a game changer. This was my perception at that time, and it was confirmed through the user output. So the reason for selecting Zoom one was there was already a thing, so I did not have to start from very scratch and make like spend 6 months or a year on such a side project. So that's, I would say, the smart thing to do, especially in open source, that if there's already a thing, you build upon that, you make it better. This is how WordPress works. So this was one of the reasons, and the second was that Zoom was the most popular, still the most popular tool out there pre-COVID, and the most reliable one as well.
Cool. Thanks, Adeel. Jonathan, back to you.
Yeah, sure. So obviously there's some big changes coming in the way that Zoom offer access to their API. It starts today, basically. It's very appropriate that we're having this conversation today, actually. It wasn't planned, because my understanding is that Zoom are going to a OAuth application model, and setting up Zoom, you're going to have to set up an app account with Zoom. So it just seems a lot more hurdles. Yeah. What's your view on, have you got some insight that you could share with the users? Why has Zoom done this? And how are you responding to it? Because a lot of your business is reliant on Zoom, isn't it?
That's true. Actually, it's a bit of a sad story. This is not the first time that Zoom has introduced some breaking changes that would require a significant user action. This has been going on from a lot of from quite some time. They used to do these things in a way that the users were not impacted this much. The developers were. So I find it very normal, because this has been going on since I believe from the start. So initially initially there was no official way to integrate Zoom on web. there was no web SDK for Zoom. So at that point, I'm referring to 2019. At that point, the only way was to use an iframe and integrate it in that way. And because there was no official way, we had to resort to this way in order to, make Zoom work within WordPress. So that was the only possible way at that time. They released their Zoom Web SDK, and they completely there was no backward compatibility. All the people who were using it in that way, like in the iframe, they completely stopped it. Nothing was working. So you have to, within a span of a very short time, you have to switch to the Zoom Web SDK, and you have to like rewrite all your code in order for it to work. So this has been, I think, going on since the very start. Another thing that happened was initially they were providing support for embedding the recording on your WordPress site. If you wanted to embed a Zoom recording on your WordPress site, that was possible initially, but after that, they even, they did the same thing to that. They completely abolished it. They made it to the point that it was not even possible to integrate the Zoom recording directly on your website, like on the web. So, so this is not something new for me. What I think is that there are constant changes, and we have to adapt to it like constantly. And I've been doing that since the beginning, so it's nothing new for me. But yeah, the recent change has been, I would say, it has made it more complex for a non-technical user to set it up, because initially Zoom, like the app thing which you mentioned, it was there before as well. The difference is that Zoom provided an option to create a JWT app on the marketplace, and from that they provided their like API key and API secret key, which the users had to enter on their WordPress settings and the plugin settings. So it was like two things. It was easy to manage, but now they have completely abandoned that. They have set up a new app type, which is called the server to server OAuth app. And in that, there are more than like 3 to 4 parameters just to set up the basic, integration. And then it is like more complex now. They have added scopes to it. So if you do not select the appropriate scopes for your app, the integration won't work on your WordPress site. And then there is event subscription, which is syncing of your Zoom account to your WordPress site. So if you want to automatically implement the changes which you do on your Zoom account, you have to set up something called event subscription as well. So it's all like on top of it, and they have made it complex. I would agree with that, and the users are facing difficulty with that. I recently released a major upgrade of my plugin. It was exactly because of this issue, because all the previous apps are now not supported, and every user has to migrate.
Yeah, I just want to make clear, I am correct that if you've set up previously, you have a year, don't you have a year to change, or am I incorrect? These changes do apply if you're trying to set it up from the 1st of June. Is that correct?
There are two things. If you are a new user, you cannot create a JWT app in the Zoom marketplace. It's not possible right now. So they do send notices, and they do inform priorly to shift to this mode of app. So they have deprecated Zoom JWT app. They have like shown the notice that we will it is deprecated, and we will stop JWT app from 1st June. So this is something they informed priorly. So it's something that we have been working on as a developer. But there are two things. The users who already set up the Zoom plugin, they have to they can use the same JWT app, but like there are a number of challenges in that, because Zoom releases its version updates of the Zoom Web SDK. So they released a version update that was using the new method. So if I released a plugin update which is using the latest Zoom Web SDK, then nothing would work for the previous users. And if I don't release the update, the Zoom Web SDK update, then users will not have access to the new features that they're adding and the fixes they have been doing. So it was like something like all of them have to shift if they want to use the plugin going forward.
Right, I think we'll go for our break. It's been a fascinating discussion. We're going to be discussing the benefits and drawbacks of working with a platform like Zoom. I think we already covered that to some degree. We'll be back in a few moments. Coming back, folks, we've had a great discussion with Adeel. I just want to point out, if you're looking for a great hosting partner and a WordPress support partner, why don't you have a look at WP-Tonic? We really have real depth knowledge in e-learning, Buddy Boss, LearnDash, Lifter LMS. And if you've got a project and you're looking for great hosting that doesn't really become a pain for you and your clients, plus great ongoing support, why don't you go over to WP-Tonic/partners, WP-Tonic/partners, and we've got some great packages to help you financially. It's just a great package in total, so go over there. So over to you, Kurt.
Hey, I think the next question really, Adeel, as we move forward in our conversation is you have a new plugin solution that's coming, correct? Is it kind of based off a Big Blue Button or something like that? Excellent.
Yeah.
Is that can you give us a little bit of information about that particular solution?
Sure. So I think you would have had a hint that there are a lot of challenges developing with Zoom, because based on their frequent breaking updates and like things like this make it very tough for developers to be at par with the Zoom updates, and at the same time facilitate your users and not cause them a lot of trouble. So I have been looking to alternatives to Zoom, because there have been some issues and some challenges within the Zoom Web SDK which were not solvable at a plugin level, because it is something coming directly from Zoom and I have no control over it. So even if I want to, I cannot fix those issues for my users, and that caused me like I ended up in a dead end. And I thought that there could be other better solutions out there which would which would fix those issues, or which would allow me to have that level of customization or level of changes that I could make on the software, where I could provide solutions to the user. So I have been researching on multiple solutions, multiple video conferencing solutions which are supported on web, and I ended up looking for like Big Blue Button, which is a virtual classroom software, and it's specifically built for teachers. So I would discuss other features as well, but this one thing that it was built for teachers, it caught my attention, because I have been developing my plugins specifically for e-learning, and I really wanted to facilitate teachers and make them make the most of their LMS. So I thought that it's a perfect combination for me, because it's exactly what I was looking for. And as I looked into it more, I found that it's an open source software, so anyone can host it on their server, and it's like you can have your own video conferencing setup, and it's not very difficult. It does need some technical knowledge, but it is doable. And like the benefits of it are tremendous, because you are controlling your own system now. You are not dependent on any other solution. You can make the changes, you can scale it as you wish. So I thought it's a very powerful tool, and everyone here knows the power of an open source software, because at being an open source software, you have contributors from the whole world, and Big Blue Button has been constantly maintained. It's releasing its updates, I would say, much quicker than how Zoom is doing it, because Zoom has a very specific team of developers that are assigned to the web SDK, and their development has been very slow. I would say that from the very start of it. So I searched another tool. I looked into Big Blue Button, and I thought how I could do the same thing that I've done with Zoom, and I could offer, I could enable people to use Big Blue Button as a virtual classroom solution within their WordPress sites. And I was able to successfully do that integration. I have published it already on my website as an alternative to people who are like fed up with Zoom or are facing a lot of challenges with Zoom. So it is, I would say, a good solution, especially for teachers. So yeah.
Excellent. As a follow up to that, I would ask, when you say that the meeting platform is specifically for teachers, what about it makes it so teacher oriented as compared to just a meeting?
Sure. So there are like multiple things. The first one, I think the most important one for a teacher is a whiteboard. And I think it's very unfortunate that Zoom does not have this feature in their web version till this date. And Big Blue Button has this feature from the very start of their software. It's like they have this feature from, as far as I could estimate, from 2016 or 17. So I was kind of shocked because I thought that if they have this feature like built into their software from such an old time, and Zoom hasn't been able to do this till now. So that was kind of a shock for me. When I explored more features, I found that you can upload your presentations within the virtual classroom. So it's very convenient for a teacher to upload a presentation, have the access to whiteboard within a video conferencing solution. So I think these are just two of it. And another thing I would add is that they do have support for HD video quality, which is unfortunately Zoom does not have it right now in their web version. So these are a few pointers that made me think that it's a much better solution than Zoom. And given the fact that it's open source, you can host it on your server. I think it's a game changer.
Yeah. As I listen to you talk, I can see where it would be a really good option for like speakers, authors, and coaches that have online courses and stuff too, that do seminars and webinars.
Yeah,
Jonathan,
def-
over to you.
Yeah, about Big Blue Button. Do they? Is it solely that you have to host it yourself, or do they offer a hosted solution as well? Do they offer a combination, or is it totally self? Is it a similar situation as Discord, or is it totally self-hosted solution?
So here's a good thing that there are multiple options to use Big Blue Button. The first one is that you can set up it on your server, which is technical. I don't recommend my clients to do that, except for the technical ones who could do it like comfortably. They're technically sound that they can handle all the complexities of a video conferencing solution, because a normal server which handles a website is very different from a server which would handle a video conferencing solution, because there are many complexities, many layers of tools that go into a server that is designed for hosting a video conferencing tool. So if the clients have those capabilities, then surely it's a very good option for them, because it reduces the costs a lot. You don't have to pay any third-party solution, any third-party company for hosting your instance. So this was the first one. The second one is that there are many companies out there which are providing this hosted solution, like just like managed WordPress hosting. We have hosting solutions specifically for Big Blue Button. So there are multiple companies that are providing that. The company that created Big Blue Button, Blindside Network, they also provide the solution. So they do have a separate commercial hosting setup which you can avail, and they can set up it for you. So they have created this plugin, this software. So definitely they would be like the first option for anyone who wants to get access to that managed hosting thing. There is one more thing, and recently I have been in a partnership with a company called BigBlueButton.host, and they have introduced a solution which is it is also a managed solution, but the difference is that they are charging the customers based on hourly rates. So if your usage of the classroom is like very limited, like it's like once a week, and you just use the classroom for like 5 to 6 hours a month, then you don't have to opt for a monthly package or an yearly package. It's very suitable for you to opt for an hourly model of pricing, so that you are only charged whenever you use it, and if you're not using it, you won't be charged for it. So it becomes very cost effective, because the monthly packages are very expensive, I would say, as compared to the server costs of a normal website. So this company has been providing this platform, which enables you to create your virtual classroom and avail the hourly pricing offer. There are other companies which are doing this as well, but this is the one which we have partnered with, and our plugin integrates with that. So the users have the option to, host their virtual classrooms based on hourly pricing model.
Oh, that's fantastic. I'm going to throw it over to you again, Kurt.
Well, I guess we're up to the question where we ask folks if you could kind of put yourself in a time machine, Adeel. If you could go back to the beginning of your career, what advice would you give yourself just starting out with what you know now?
I would tell myself that I would focus on the areas where I'm weak, where the areas that are not my strength, because I struggle a lot in the marketing area because I have been a developer since the very first day. And starting my own company was a big challenge for me because I don't have a prior exposure to marketing and all the stuff that is other than development. So development is just a part of the process. There are so many things that goes into creating a successful business. So initially, I would say if I got the chance, I would focus more on those areas so I know how to execute a successful, like even if I create a plugin and I'm not able to sell it, then it's of no use. So I would focus on my weaknesses more, and I'll try to convert them into strength. If not in strength, at least at some point that it's not something that I struggle a lot with. This is the first thing I would add something more. I would. I would add more people with me starting this journey because it's very tough to be doing things alone. And if you have people who support you in the process, especially in the beginning, it's a big help. So I would focus on, creating those bonds and having those people with me that could complement me, that could, that complement me in a way that my weaknesses are their strengths. So if I would be in the start of my career, I would focus on that more.
Excellent. Excellent. It's pretty insightful. Jonathan?
Yeah, kind of quick follow-through question. Would, in specifically your WordPress journey, do you still feel kind of hitching because you've got a lot of exposure and in the WordPress community world because of this integration with Zoom, and obviously it wasn't planned, but because of COVID it became much more necessary to have that integration. So you got a lot of exposure because of that decision, but would you still go down that route, or would you have changed that route a bit because you've discussed the technical problems of being so linked with Zoom, but there's also been a lot of benefits as well as being part of that. So have you thought that out? Have you come to any conclusion on the scale of benefits against non-benefits?
I would say if I would have to change something, I would do this much earlier. I would say I would do this plugin in the start of my career. It would be perfect if I had this integration back then, because it would have been so much better right now. Um, I think the decision was perfect. It was very timely. I am very fortunate to be at the right place at the right time. And I think I think I've mentioned some drawbacks of Zoom, but there are certainly some points which make it such a popular solution. And the first thing is that it's kind of a leader in video conferencing world back in 2019. So it was the best solution out there. WebEx was not good, and it was built to fix those issues that were present at that time in video conferencing. So back then, it was the leader and the best solution out there. So definitely, it was the best choice at that point. Right now, I would say things have changed a lot because there have been many major, updates in the video conferencing world, and Zoom, I would say, has not kept the pace that it should have. I really wished it should have kept that pace. In the like the new updates that have been there in the video conferencing world, they are very fast, and Zoom has been lagging behind. So they were a leader at that point, but I wouldn't say that right now. I think there are many tools, many solutions that are doing far more better than Zoom, given that they are just startups, but they are doing an extraordinary job. And I think if Zoom doesn't keep up that pace, it would lose its popularity in some time. This is what I think.
Yeah, maybe we can discuss that a little bit in our bonus content. I think one of the things, though, just to comment before I throw it back over to Kurt again, is I think in the total, it's like their webinar product. It works really well, but it's only a minor part of an enormous company. And I think you referred to this in the interview that the web-based team at Zoom is only a very small team in the bigger Zoom world of the internal world of Zoom, the company. So these, like the webinar product, the web-based product, these are very small parts of a very large company. So their focus, obviously their focus, I'm only surmising this, I might be totally wrong, but their focus are on things that really move the profitability of the company. And these little silos are maybe not the things that they feel are going to really move the profitability. Do you think there's anything in what I've just said, or do you think I'm off track there?
I think you have summarized it pretty well. This is actually very true. They have been focused on their app like much more than they are on web, because app was the thing that skyrocketed in COVID, and that's what people mostly use. So they have their major focus on the desktop apps, on the mobile apps, because obviously, as you said, that is where the most like the quantity of users were at that time, and that's I think that's why it became their focus. So web is not something that was popular at that time, but it is like catching up very quickly as compared to the apps, because more and more people are looking for ways to tightly integrate Zoom into their systems. And obviously, most of those are web-based platforms, and they want a solution in a way that people don't get confused. They have this tight and solid integration within their platforms. So this is something which has been like a follow-up of the popularity of Zoom. It was not this trend was not present back then. So this is, I think that's why they are. It's difficult for them to catch up because they have so much on their plate. They have expended so much, and they have so many products and solutions out there that focusing on this particular niche, I think it is difficult for them to focus so much on that, and they are not very focused on it. But other companies and other startups who are specifically focusing on this area are excelling at a very rapid rate as compared to Zoom. So yeah, you're right.
Oh, thanks for that. Over to you again, Kurt.
The more he talks, the more I'm looking forward to the bonus content. Are there any business resources or books or things that you'd like to recommend to the audience, especially folks that might want to get up to speed on the subject?
I don't have any particular books on the subject, but as I'm
No,
thinking,
so I think we meant more business that influenced you
yeah.
on kind of business
So
kind of
yeah, I
out.
would go out to say that it's not very, it does not seem directly related to my business, but there have been definitely some books that have shaped my entire focus. I would say that the moment I focused completely on e-learning, it's based on some major changes in my thinking patterns in my life that I experienced, and I would say those have made the biggest impact on me and on my career. So it doesn't seem directly related, but it's very much related to what I'm doing right now. So the first book is Do Schools Kill? Sorry, it's The Creative Schools by Sir Ken Robinson, who has been my inspiration in this change of thought, because he was leading a revolution back then in education and transforming it and making it better. And his thoughts and his ideas were extraordinary, and they impacted me a lot. So I got a chance to study in depth of like what he wanted to say. So there was this very popular talk that he gave, which was which had the title "Do Schools Kill Creativity?" And this was a very big question, and it made that question in my mind. And after that talk, I have been reading his books, and I got to know a lot about the type of education that we're delivering in this era. And I felt that there we are doing something very pretty wrong. And he identified it, and he explained it in a way that I think no one else has explained. So Creative School is one of the books which I would say are his. It is his marvel. There's other. It's called The Element. It is by Sir Ken Robinson as well. And there is one more book I would say I would just want to add that as well, which is titled as Finnish Lessons 2.0, which is written by Pasi Sahlberg. And he is the expert in education of the Finnish education system. So I think these three books can change your mind enormously. It has done it did it to me. So I can confirm that, and these had the major impacts in my life. So
All
in my
right. That's fantastic. Thank you for supplying those. I haven't heard of of those authors actually. If you can email those authors and links, I'll make sure they're all in the show notes, and I'll have a look at them myself. Thank you for giving that. That was really very insightful. So, if people want to find out more about you and your company and what you're up to, what's the best ways for people to do that, Ali?
The best way will be to visit my website, that is eLearningevolve.com. People can find everything related to my products and my services there. They can also connect with me through WhatsApp. We have this WhatsApp number on the website. They can connect with me on email as well. It is info@elearningevolve.com. So if they just visit the website, they can see all what I've been doing so far and all my plugins and my services. So I think that's the best way to reach me.
That's great. And Kurt, what's the best way for people to find out more about you and what you're up to?
Jonathan, I am the only Kurt Von Onen on LinkedIn. so that's
he loves saying that, you know. He loves saying that.
Yeah, I'm on LinkedIn almost every day. So if you'd reach out and connect with me on LinkedIn, chances are we'll have a conversation and see how we can connect.
That's great. We're going to have some bonus content. We're going to be discussing some of the other players in the video conferencing area and anything else that Eddie wants to discuss. You can watch this bonus content by going over to the WP-Tonic YouTube channel. Please subscribe to the channel. Please share the show on any social media, Twitter, Facebook, anywhere that you want to share it, because it does then promote the show and we get a bigger audience. Our figures are rising. It's been excellent that Kurt has joined me. I think we're really gelling now, and he's a great co-host. And Adeel, thank you so much for coming on the show. It's been very insightful, and you've been a great guest. We're going to wrap it up now. Remember to join us for the bonus content. We'll see you next week, folks. Bye.
Bye-bye.